All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to a very special Amiah Sunday. This is more about me talking, and I was kind of thinking about something that I saw some of Amaya's recent posts. She gets along so well with the other females, other actors on set. This one's pretty cool. Yeah, can you see the resemblance? That's pretty cool. They got along in real life. Here's Amaya and Carly. Adora to her, to the left, as you can see, but yeah, she's a friend of hers. And who could forget her best friend there, Night on the Town? That's Gaia Brooks, and so many different friends she's had over the years. Because Amaya doesn't have any sisters, at least any biological sisters. So um, my sisters would always fight. Now, my mom had three sisters or three daughters. She only has one sister. They're both still alive, very old. My first sister was born in 65. The second one was born in 69. She passed away in 2010, 2011. And the youngest sister was born in 71. And there was so much bullshit before I was even born. It was like Cinderella's stepsisters and all that. Okay, very selfish. I don't know what it was. My father was an abusive man, and he would just, because he was so abusive, my sisters saw this narrative as though my mom was the victim. Well, yeah, I mean, most women that are dealing with abusive husbands, whether they're physically abusive or verbally abusive or sexually abusive or whatever it is, they're yes, but if you don't take action at some point, what are you doing? Not even for the children. You know. So it was difficult to cope. So my sisters saw my mom as the victim. So all three of my sisters would see my mom as the holy grail, the holy person of the family. And it's easy to see that. I think in Spanish culture, this was a Spanish class in high school. And my teacher would say, yeah, you could spit on your father, but you're not supposed to spit on your mother. You're supposed to spit on your father because your father could be a piece of garbage when he wants to be, right? Because in black culture, dads leave and you got single moms taking care of four or five kids, right? In Mexican culture, that sort of happens too, but a lot of dads will put in a lot of hours. A lot of us do blue collar work. So my dad would work dead end jobs, okay, and he would hit us when he was getting tired of us, right, get bored of us. Because my mom never really saw the positives in each of my three sisters. Um, she sided with my oldest sister the most. That's why they have a sort of a checking account. They have a joint account together for one of the banks. So they have a bank joint account. So, and my oldest sister is not somebody of highest moral fiber. Okay, I mean, she used to talk bad about her coworkers. She could be a physically abusive person when she wanted to be. Not as bad as my father was, but she could be that way. And between my youngest sister and my oldest sister, everybody would fight. My second sister would hide the homework that was due in school, in grade school. Okay. There would be fights. My second sister would say, "Go fuck yourself, fuck you," to my dad, and my dad would respond in kind because you don't do that. You might as well just jump off the roof. Um, so there were a lot of bad things that happened because my second sister was manipulative and cold, and my youngest sister was just bitchy and nasty, and my oldest sister was bitchy and nasty. At some point, all three of them were fighting for my mom's attention, and none of them got along. They didn't talk to each other. And you know what? Because my oldest sister will be 59, and my second sister supposedly did herself in jisatsu. She karahiri, right? Karahiri, you know what that should be. Take the sword, the blade, just stick it in there, and that's it. Goodbye, world. I don't know. I think her husband had something to do with it. Her husband is a police officer, so police officers' wives just don't go away, don't do they? That's not normal. So I think because when my mom moved away from the old house that I showed that house. It was an orange house, and she moved away from it, and she didn't tell well, she told my aunt not to tell anyone else. Don't tell her. Marlo was her name. I could say her name because she's gone now. Don't tell her where we are. So she wrapped she based her whole life around my mom. And my youngest sister kind of did the same thing. In fact, when my mom moved out of the house that we all grew up in from the late 60s all the way to I'd say to 2010. So my mom had been in that house, I would say, let me think, 45 years. She had been in that house for a long time. I had been in that house for 40, not 45, but I had been in that house for decades. And so my youngest sister wanted her to move to Santa Rosa. And then my oldest sister gave up her job, the job that she would talk shit about her coworkers all the time. She worked at Consolidated Film Industries, and she worked at Color by Deluxe. And now she's working in a pharmacy. So she worked in the Hollywood industry for a while. And then she decided to follow my mom and be in a city somewhere. She would be in Napa, near Napa Valley, wine and all that. So it was a tug of war between my two sisters. Okay, so my second sister just ended herself. Okay, or her husband helped her, and these two are still fighting. And today they're still fighting. My oldest sister's 59, and my youngest sister would be 53, and they're still fighting. Today they are still fighting. Okay, they're probably I think they're your mom's age or older, and they're still fighting. They don't talk to each other, and that's ridiculous. So there's a lot of what ifs. What would your mom do if there were two more daughters in her life? And just, I mean, it's best not to think about the what ifs. I would hope, and she would treat. I think your mom tries her best to treat, um, Jax and Austin with the same amount of love. Austin and Jax, they have their own things that they're doing, and they're trying to be better people. I mean, you're lucky to have all the opportunities, and I know you're grateful for all the opportunities you have, but my sisters always fought, and it was just a broken household. So I didn't have much to say about this. I didn't have a lot of things for Amiah Sunday. I am working on something for you. It is a better piece of art. It's a technique of art where it looks like a photograph, and it is based on something you've shown. So it's not complete fantasy. And I'm going to do that. I'm doing that now, but I'm going to show some of that tonight. But they just don't talk to each other. My three sisters don't care about each other. The same thing, my cousins, same thing, they would always fight too. But I went to the funeral of my female cousin who today would be 59. No, is that right? Is that right? Or did she pass away in 2020? That can't be correct. I think it was 2022. Yeah. So she was born in 64 or 56. No, 1966. No, I covered this topic in 2022. She died in 2022. She died before her father's age. She died before my father's age. That's really sad. Anyway, that's all I really got to say. I think it's just, don't take for granted what good relationships you have with people. If something doesn't go well with somebody, and guaranteed, there's always going to be some tension, or maybe some of your friends have to move. They have their own boyfriends, husbands, girlfriends, relationships. They have their own shit to do, and maybe that causes a little rift. Not in a animosity or hate, but it's just, oh, my friend's going through a change. What do I do, right? Just think of this video and understand that my sisters just literally shat on each other and hated each other. They just don't talk to each other. My mom, who couldn't put her judgment aside, took one daughter over the other two. Same thing happened with my brothers. There was just a rift between my brother and me, and I see the tension to that. I see the problem. I see the tension to that. Um, but it wasn't his fault. I could see that. I mean, seeing him laid up dead in '87, that was hard. That was difficult. So going through the process of denial, anger, fear, bargaining, acceptance, trying to figure out, okay, my family's full of shit. It wasn't my brother's fault. So anyway, that's all I gotta say. And let's hope for a better week. Let's hope for a better week. All right, and hope you like the Halloween package. I sent something for Halloween.